Friday afternoon, I got a text from Matt's guardian, and she informed me that there had been a medical emergency with the staff who had Matt out in the community. 911 was called,
Oh my
and the
gosh.
staff was taken to the ER. And I'm extremely grateful because there was another person there with the staff, a family member who was visiting.
Oh,
And
thank
so
goodness.
that person had kept Matt while the agency staff was en route to the location where Matt was. And I am informed that Matt was fine. He does not handle medical emergencies of other people real well. He can get agitated and upset, but I was told that he did okay, and that he was, that some bystanders were helping, to keep him distracted and doing okay. But it's left me questioning all weekend about where we are in Matt's journey, and is this still the best? Supported living has given Matt the most amazing life. And I won't go into all of that right now, but his health needs are changing, and he's extremely vulnerable because he doesn't use words to speak, and there's one staff member in the home with him or out in the community with him. He has one-on-one supports at this point, and that's beginning to frighten me. I think we have to make some decisions on, is it time to look at something else?
Wow. Gosh, Jadene, you've been juggling so much, it seems, all at once. And first of all, thank goodness the caregiver is okay and he's safe and things are all right with him. But what a scary moment for you as a mother and not being close to the situation when it happened. I feel like there's a lot of layers to this, though, right? That we can kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
pull apart because, I mean, I'm having all these different thoughts of, what if the caregiver didn't have someone with them at the time? Then what would have happened? And what are some other changes you can be doing immediately, effective immediately in the home? What do you need to talk to the agency about in their protocol system? And then, like you said, do you need to start adapting Matt's care plan, whether that means physically where he's at, or the kind of supports you're bringing in, or, what specific needs do you have to address effective immediately so that his path forward can be the best possible and that he gets the care he needs? But oh, Jadine, you have a lot. I'm sorry that you're going through all this, but this is why we're here. We're going to talk it through.
yeah. I am like surprised because I don't really think I have broken down over it, but I feel it coming right now. But
Yeah.
It's scary because your child is vulnerable. And this, okay, I mean, we should be clear. A medical emergency with a staff or provider is going to be rare, but it happens, right? I
it
mean,
happens.
emergencies happen, accidents happen all the time. And you just lived through something that you probably hadn't thought through before, right? Until it happened. So I'll tell you, it's a different situation. But when Aunt Kathy came to live with me, that was really on my mind as a sole caregiver. With just me and Kathy in the house, I was really concerned about what would happen if something happened to me. If I had a heart attack, if I fell down the stairs, if I don't know, if something happened to me, what would happen? So again, different situation, different person. Kathy was verbal. Kathy was mobile, especially those first few years. She was still functional. So the first thing I did was I got a landline into my house and I borrowed an old phone from my parents and like with a jack, and got it working because Aunt Kathy did not know how to use a cell phone and she would not have known what to do to unlock my cell phone or any of that, but she does know how to call 911. So that's what I did. I put a landline in. The second thing I did was I visited our local fire station and EMS and explained our situation. made sure that they knew everything about her that I wanted them to know, everything about me, everything about our house, how to get our apartment, how to get in through the gate, all that kind of stuff. And I asked them for advice. And the one thing that they had told me to do was to get a piece of paper and put it on the refrigerator or a whiteboard at the entrance and put down all of our emergency contacts, put an envelope or a list with all of her medications or any important piece of information that they would need right there close by. And so I did that. Those were the two things I did to take care of us. Oh, actually, there's a third thing. I put security cameras up, not only in our bedroom to watch Kathy while she slept, but in the hallway and in, the living room. And my mom and my sister had access to that. And they knew that if they didn't see me within a certain amount of time, that they needed to come and check on us or call somebody to come and check on us. And that gave me some peace of mind.
Molly, you're such a good advocate. You just think of everything well before you need to. But it's a good reminder, though. And we tried to live by this, but you can't always. And like in your situation, Jadene, it just happened. But we always tried to live by the motto of don't wait for the crisis to happen to start putting things in place. Now, that's not always going to be possible. But in your situation, Jadene, I just go back to thinking about what if somebody wasn't with them? And now what do you do now that your caregiver potentially has a medical issue going on? I mean, let's talk about some of the possibilities that you can do now and what your thoughts are on this situation with Matt being at home, because he's got that one caregiver. And
Right.
is he even back at work yet?
No, not as far as I know. My understanding is that there's someone that has worked with Matt, not to the level that this care provider has, but that the person in today knows Matt. But I don't know where we are, going forward, because the caregiver that this happened to is Matt's primary caregiver. And spends most of the week with Matt overnight, sometimes even during the day. There are days that this particular provider does 24/7 for 3 days in a row. So that is a concern. Yeah, I'd like to go back talk about those cameras, because I do have a camera that's in Matt's room, and we've put it in there as a way to monitor changes in his sleep pattern, because at some point we believe that there will be a need for overnight awake staff. Right now, the staff that are with him overnight can sleep, but we believe that in time there may be a need to have somebody overnight that's awake if Matt gets up and starts wandering. So there is a camera in his room now. We've not had cameras anywhere else, because in the past he had a roommate, and there's a privacy issue for the roommate. But he's been without a roommate for well over a year. And, it is something that I am going to say, let's do this now. If we get a roommate, we can take the cameras out. But right now it's just Matt, and Matt does not have the ability to call 911.
Right.
He knows how to look at pictures on a phone. That's as much as a phone is to him. So I like the idea of maybe putting some additional cameras in. But and it is frightening, Kristen, that if Matt is out in the community or in the house just with that one person, one-on-one has been great, but in this case it may no longer be great.
It could be a liability.
Yeah.
I think that the cameras are a great solution for when you're in the home. But the question too is, this is a wake-up call, right? How do you put risk mitigation, or what are the protocols in place for when you're out in the community too? There's in-home, what are the safety nets, and out in the community, I wonder if it's something that you can talk to the agency about, maybe establishing protocols now that they've had to experience it once. How do you translate those safety nets at home into being out and about just one-on-one? Is it something as simple as the provider has a badge that has the agency number as well as his emergency contact. So if EMS is called, they know to contact the agency too, to let them know to get somebody out that Matt needs taken care of, as well as, I mean, God forbid, if something, really serious happens to the staff. I don't want to discount that.
Right.
But, there are two people who then need to be taken care of, right? The EMS is there for the caregiver, but somebody needs to come and be there for Matt.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, this can even translate into a situation where you have an elderly parent caring for
Exactly
their child in their 40s, 50s, 60s. And God forbid if it's a single parent and something happens, I mean, I'm sure this is going to hit home for somebody, because this thought is not just being had by you, Jadene. Now this
Right.
is,
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, there's just so many, then your mind probably just starts spinning into all the different scenarios. But you brought up, and I want to go back to it because you've brought up a couple times, like, is this the right place for Matt, or do I need to consider a group home setting for him? But my concern still is, how is the quality of care going to be? And do they, even if he were to be able to go into a group home, and there's more caregivers or there's more people, then do they have the training and the knowledge to work with somebody with this diagnosis, with the Alzheimer's? Because that's a whole nother level of care too. And I'm sure that has crossed your mind. Would that even be a good fit for him, or could it be something? So you really are facing quite the conundrum here.
It is challenging because, yeah, there are a lot of variables. Matt has done his own thing when he goes out in the community. That's why he did the volunteering at the VA for 9 years. I can't speak for today because Matt hasn't experienced this. His history is that going to like a day program is not good for him. It's overstimulating. I think it has to do with the piece of him that has that autism diagnosis, and the apraxia, that he cannot communicate to people who don't know him well. So a group setting like a day program has in the past been not a good fit for him. So the thought of that, because so many group homes are attached to day programs, I don't know that that's in his best interest. And I think, still prefer his current living situation, but I have to feel that he's safe. I have to know that he's comfortable and safe. I do want to say something that while you were talking, both of you, about having information available, I'm feeling rather negligent. I worked with the National Down Syndrome Society and helped to create a caregiver toolkit. And it's got everything we need to know about Matt. And my plan was to make sure it was complete and then leave it in Matt's home where it's very visible. But one of the very first pages is emergency information, like his guardian's name is right there, his supported living coach, his insurance information, his primary care. On one sheet of paper are all of the names and phone numbers of people that should be contacted if something goes wrong. So if EMS comes in, there are a lot of people that could be called to say, can you get here? Matt needs somebody. I have a list of his meds in here. This is telling me, and thank you for our conversation, that it's time to get this off of my desk and into Matt's house. Yeah.
But now, is that something you can access off their website?
It's on the ndss.org, and it's in their publications. If they go into, it's called Caregiving Toolkit, and it says supplemental worksheets for the Caregiving and Down Syndrome Guidebook. So it's not hard to find and not hard to access. And I think there's a PDF version that you can fill out. I don't remember. It's been a while since I started filling this out, but
well, and make sure that it's not in a drawer somewhere. It's out, like on the coffee table, right?
Yeah. Matt has a like a bar that divides the living room and it's like countertop. that divides the living room and the kitchen. So it can go right there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would still make a copy of that one sheet with contacts, and that goes on the refrigerator, not just in
Yep.
the book. Yeah. So thank you. That's good.
So I don't know about you, Jadene, but in our community, we have something called Smart 911. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
It was not something that I knew about before Aunt Kathy moved in with me, but it's something you can fill out online that is an electronic record that is attached to them and goes straight to any emergency 911 call that's made from their home or from their cell phone or from a provider's cell phone. It's attached, like that record is attached to the person so that when an ambulance is called, the EMS professionals get all that information. My son is autistic. He's not verbal. This is how you communicate with him. Don't touch him. These are the medications. But it's called Smart 911, and a lot of communities have it. So you might want to look into that for Matt. I mean, that doesn't help for the provider, but it helps with Matt.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, Molly, because I know we have that in our community as well. And I think more and more communities are trying to embrace the idea of having that because it is so helpful for our first responders.
Yeah. Now, you know, we should probably do an episode at some point about going to the ER and going to the hospital and like what tools can we have in place to help in an emergency when our loved ones have to be taken.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that's a
that
good
can
idea.
be a different episode.
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea. I've got some stories on that. So
Oh, Jadene, how is he, this provider, who I know he's like a family member to you?
He is. And I communicated with him the day after. He was still in the hospital. He said he was feeling fine.
Well, our prayers are with him, but I do think it's probably worth having a conversation with the agency head just to
Yes.
find out what they're learning from this event and
Right.
what their thoughts are. And, you know, can you work together to, maybe it's something that the agency needs to put into place for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know how many of the folks that they serve have situations like Matt where it's, you know, one-on-one, and the nonverbal piece, you know, that's I think the biggest concern is that Matt he doesn't understand safety. And you know, I mean, we've done fire drills with him, pretended that there's a fire, and he wants to wander around and pick up all of his favorite cat wands, and you know, before he leaves. So he doesn't get safety
Yeah.
kind of things. So that's huge. It's huge. So we do need to find a way to make sure he stays safe in the current situation, because like I said, I want him to be there as long as he can be. And I don't think he's really cognitively or physically at a point where group home is a better placement for him. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking of that because of the fact that there are more people around, and typically it's not just one staff member in a group home. It may be, but it's just different, you know. So, well, I thank you girls for processing this with me. I've been like on a roller coaster all weekend, you know, thinking, no, it's time to get him out of there. And no, it's not. It's too early. And
Yeah.
doing all the what ifs. And yeah, it's been a crazy weekend.
I think there are some action items.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think there are solutions here. And if it's just the safety piece, I don't know that a group home is necessarily the appropriate answer to this particular thing, because again, it's unfortunate that it happened, and it's good that we're aware that these things can happen and we can plan for it, but the chance of it happening hopefully is as slim as we think it is, right?
Yeah, like this was a one and done kind of situation.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you
but
don't
we
want
don't
your
know.
situation to be the one to learn from. However, the silver lining is it has brought this to the forefront where there are some immediate steps you can take right now to
Right.
put some safety protocols in place. And hopefully it is a one and done. And then that's why, you know, this was kind of the blessing in disguise that it got you to where you're going to need to be with some of these next steps.
And I'm a firm believer in the universe bringing us what we need when we need it, and the fact
Mm-hmm.
that it happened when there was someone else with them,
Yes.
and there were bystanders who came over and helped. My understanding from the staff that was with him this weekend was that there were a number of pretty young women in bikinis. And
It's
Matt,
always a good
Matt,
distraction.
Matt is appreciative. Let's just say that.